When you hear Hulk Hogan's theme, there is no doubt that we all think of happy memories we all experience, especially with his performances that came after it. But that wasn't the case for everyone else involved. The truth is, Hulk Hogan was hated by many of his peers, and for good reason. Hulk Hogan was the most influential superstar, so much so that somehow he convinced all of us to watch his movies. And we all know what they were like. This poor sentiment was not only for his acting career, but also his superstar status crashing down. Throughout the years, there have been numerous allegations, backstabbing, and politics to ensure younger and upcoming talent to be held back, just so Hulk Hogan can stay on top. All these stories have not just occurred in the last 10 years, but stretch back all the way to the 80s. It's easy to say why he's hated now, but looking back holistically, there were clear examples of this type of behavior both inside and outside the ring. The first example being at WrestleMania 9 with Bret Hart. He was extremely upset and angry that Hulk Hogan didn't put him over to make him a bigger star, as it was something that was promised to him in 1993. However, Hulk Hogan didn't want to lose to him because he didn't think he was a top tier talent, as he refused to do it. As a result, Bret Hart dropped the WWE Championship to Yokozuna in the main event when salt got thrown in his eyes? But that match isn't what the fans remember today, because after it concluded, Hogan made sure his image to the public was pristine, as he suddenly appeared and defeated Yokozuna in a matter of seconds.
So that was a fucking lie.
To win the title in an impromptu match to receive the championship back. Bret wasn't a fan of this particular booking, but he went along with it. And since Hogan didn't respect him, he thought losing to him would reduce his star power. Therefore, no matches between the two ever took place in the company thereafter until WCW. Hulk Hogan then dropped the title back to Yokozuna as the King of the Ring. Heck, he even jumped ship to WCW, where even there Hogan was making sure to fill Eric Bischoff's air just so Bret Hart wouldn't become a bigger superstar than him.
So that was a fucking lie.
To top it off, Bret Hart is one of those legends who isn't afraid of being blunt and honest. Whenever he is asked about Hulk Hogan at live events or Q&A sessions, Bret isn't afraid of admitting that he dislikes him on a personal level.
Think Hulk Hogan will ever be back in the WWE? Let's hope not.
Going on record to say that Hogan was never the most skilled wrestler. This opinion seems to be the case with multiple wrestlers, as even Stone Cold said the same thing on a Jim Ross podcast, that no fights were scheduled with Hogan because he felt like their styles and pace were too different. He didn't want to slow down for him. Their speculated grievances with each other started in WCW, in which it's rumored Hulk Hogan slighted Stone Cold in a canned story of their fight. Apparently, Eric Bischoff was told by the Hulkster that Austin wasn't at his level, which eventually led to Stone Cold mocking him in his short stay at ECW during a promo.
That's where you're wrong, Mean Joey, because Steve Austin doesn't have what it takes to get it done in the ECW.
Stating that Hogan was holding him back. However, when they both end up at WWE, Austin clarified why he didn't want to work with Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Physically and mentally where I was, I think Hogan probably would have been a step or two behind, and that wasn't acceptable to me. So basically, what he was saying, he was calling Hogan So from one legend to another one in Shawn Michaels.
What you gonna do, brother?
After 2005, both stars were portrayed as baby faces and were loved by the fans. But as you can tell from the trend, Hulky over here doesn't like it when other wrestlers are bigger stars than him, which means he's about to f everything up.
It's about to go down.
Hulk Hogan refused to put over Shawn in their much anticipated match at SummerSlam in 2005. Shawn Michaels stated that the original plan was to do a best of 3 series, with each of them getting a win in the first 2 matches and having a stipulation in the 3rd match to settle the feud. Hulk Hogan, who was a part-timer at the time mind you, had creative control and he used it to back out from the series. It made no sense for Hogan Hogan to win the match, considering he was a part-timer and was way out of his prime. Even during his run as the top guy in the 80s, Hogan was blamed for holding down several talents. He admitted during his interview with Orlando Sentinel in 2018,
"Once I got in the spot to keep the spot, that's where the politics came in. Everybody goes, well, Hulk Hogan was a politician. Well, thank God I was. That's why I made more money than anybody. That's why I kept the belt longer. That's why instead of a 5 or 6 or 10-year run like The Rock or Stone Cold, I had a 35-year run on top."
So Shawn Michaels, knowing he wasn't going to win against Hulk Hogan, the Heartbreak Kid still knew how to get back at him, which meant, again,
It's about to go down.
the match wasn't the usual technical clinic you would come to expect from Shawn Michaels. The match is remembered for Shawn overselling every single move Hogan threw at him. Some even found it to be comical as Michaels flipped and flopped around the ring after getting hit by Hogan. I mean, just look at this. Regardless of how Shawn Michaels felt about Hogan now, he hadn't been the only one who was angry at him for changing the outcome of the match. And whilst they were able to mend wounds, it is hard to say that the next case with the New Day will have that outcome. While many have called Hogan for using his influence backstage to get his way, others have shown hatred towards him for his controversial and racist remarks. This happened when Hogan's disgraceful footage leaked online in 2015. Many in the wrestling community were quick to point out that Hogan admitted in the footage that he was in fact a racist. In the footage, Hogan went on a racist triad and continued the rant by using the N-word multiple times.
What did he say?
WWE, knowing how their image could be tarnished by those racist remarks, fired Hogan and stripped him from the Hall of Fame.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Hogan has since apologized for his shameful remarks, but the damage had been done. Hogan's racist comments caught the attention of many black WWE wrestlers, including the New Day. After apologizing for his actions, Hogan was reinstated by the company in 2018, but the New Day made it clear that they had no place in their heart for the Hulkster. On July 18th of 2018, Kofi Kingston tweeted out a long message along with the rest of his partners in which they stated that it's up to the company if they want to reinstate Hogan to the Hall of Fame. But on a personal level, the group shared their true feelings on him. However, as time goes on, if Hogan makes a genuine effort to change himself, then maybe the group would change its opinion on him. This can't be said for the next superstar, CM Punk. Out of everyone who absolutely despises Hulk Hogan, the controversial man himself makes an appearance on this list too. However, this was kind of expected, as CM Punk is known for being honest about his feelings and doesn't shy in talking about any subject matter. Whilst many hate Hogan for being a politician backstage and for his controversies, CM Punk's hatred for the Hulkster is a bit unusual. During an interview back in 2011, CM Punk compared meeting Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying that Steve always treated him like a friend, whilst Hogan didn't give him any time when he bumped into him on one occasion.
I wasn't a Hogan guy.
You've met him though now.
I've met him and like him even less now.
You're crushing my childhood dreams.
But CM Punk didn't stop there. There have been several other instances where he has completely blasted Hogan. Whilst talking to Brandon Walker on Wrestling, CM Punk stated the following.
Right, like you can make the argument like, oh no, well Hulk Hogan's a bigger star than Steve Austin. Then you look at business periods and eras and box office receipts and like all that other stuff. I think Hogan's a piece of shit, so obviously I'm gonna be like Steve Austin, yay.
Right.
So after Hogan's inappropriate footage got leaked, it became more apparent that the Starlight Edge superstar would never be looking in the eyes of a Hogan with respect. But speaking of respect, one wrestler who is beloved by millions of fans around the globe, but also very well liked by his co-workers, is the Undertaker. Rarely would you ever get to hear that the dead man has some sort of beef with another superstar. But even the Undertaker too has some grievances against Hogan in some capacity. Back in 1991, The Undertaker defeated Hulk Hogan to win the WWE Championship at Survivor Series. It wasn't the match or the outcome Hogan was upset about. Hogan took issue with The Undertaker over his finishing maneuver, the Tombstone Power-Driver. After the match was over, Hogan claimed that the move had injured his neck. The dead man felt bad as he was just 24 years old at the time, and he began to live with the thought that he had just put the biggest superstar of the company on the shelf. The Undertaker later dropped the title to Hulk Hogan at this Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view a few days later, which made him think that he was being punished for injuring him. However, The Undertaker soon realized later on when Shawn Michaels told him that Hogan's head was nowhere near the mat and he was perfectly fine after the match was over. When The Undertaker confronted Hogan about this, Hulk Hogan responded by stating that the tightness of the grip jammed his neck. As a result, The Undertaker believed that Hogan was trying to sabotage his character and position in the company. In an interview with ESPN, The Undertaker revealed what he thought about the Hulkster back then.
From that Tuesday in Texas, when I got that answer, I knew all I needed to know about him.
In conclusion, it's worth noting that Hogan has also had many positive interactions and relationships with other wrestlers throughout his career, and he remains a beloved figure among many wrestling fans. However, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone in the industry shares those same feelings, and that makes Hogan's legacy a complex one. I'll be covering it in detail in a future video, so make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. However, if you want to learn more about another living legend, what about learning the 5 times Roman Reigns has lost clean?